Hi there, everybody. Welcome. My name is Carrie Shaw. You are tuned into a monthly meeting of the Humanists and Freethinkers of Fairfield County. We're located in Connecticut, but we receive memberships and viewers from all over the United States and in some cases from foreign countries. Our motto is compassion and reason. And that's not just fluff, that's real. Compassion means that we care for other people, and reason, we think the best way of helping people is through science, logic, reality. And as someone said who was helping out the poor, we don't pray for people. If they're hungry, we provide them sandwiches. That's kind of what we're about. And we invite everybody to join us. One way to find out about our upcoming programs and what we're doing is our website, and that's hffcct.org. So that stands for Humanists and Freethinkers of Fairfield County, Connecticut.org. What we stand for, aside from compassion and reason, we have three main purposes. One is educating ourselves and others. The other is standing up for humanist values in the wider community. And the third is developing a humanist community. I'm going to introduce our speaker. We're very happy to have with us nationally important, and he's kind of a shy, soft-spoken personality, but very famous and a great person who's made things happen, Herb Silverman. Professionally, he's a professor of higher mathematics. He was responsible for forming a humanist group in the state of South Carolina, as well as being founder of a national group, bringing humanist groups from all over together in a secular coalition for America. He's a columnist in a number of places, including the Washington Post. He's written a couple books. All around, just a fun guy to be with. So I'd like to introduce Herb Silverman. Take it away, Herb.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And it's interesting to hear that I'm a shy person. I didn't know that before. First, I'll talk about my book, Candidate Without a Prayer, an autobiography that describes my journey from Orthodox Jew growing up in Philadelphia to apathetic atheist to accidental activist atheist when I moved to South Carolina, and now to what some might describe as an evangelical atheist. I moved to South Carolina in 1976 to teach at the College of Charleston. It was my first trip below the Mason-Dixon line, a bit of a culture shock for me, and I think for South Carolina as well. After teaching at the College of Charleston for 14 years, I had gotten pretty used to living in South Carolina, but I underwent a major life change in 1990 when a colleague pointed out that our South Carolina Constitution prohibited atheists from becoming governor. I knew the US Constitution prohibited religious tests for public office. I went to the ACLU, and a lawyer there told me an atheist would need to mount a legal challenge by running for governor. And he said that the very best candidate would be me. Well, I looked around and I didn't see much competition. So after giving it some thought, I decided to become the candidate without a prayer. After filing for candidacy, I learned that atheist is a very provocative word, and not just in South Carolina. The Associated Press picked up the story, and the following day, I got a call from a very distressed woman in Philadelphia.
Oh.
I had to admit that
He doesn't look distressed.
I had to admit that the Philadelphia Inquirer was not the best way for my mother to find out that her only child was a candidate for governor and an atheist. I never expected all that publicity, so I thought I could spare my mother such heartache. She didn't so much mind my being an atheist. The problem for her was going public about it. She always wanted me to appear respectable, but that never quite happened. Meanwhile, Governor Campbell said our South Carolina Constitution was fine as it was because our country was founded on godly principles. I was invited onto a number of talk shows where some callers would say things like, as an atheist, I suppose you feel free to go out and rape and murder and do whatever you think you can get away with. My response to such callers would be, with an attitude like that, I hope that you continue to believe in a God. I soon realized that I didn't just want to change the state constitution. I also wanted to change the hearts and minds of some of my fellow South Carolinians. Republican Governor Campbell knew he would have an easy re-election victory, so he refused to debate the other candidates. But I participated in a number of three-way debates with candidates from the Democratic Party and the American Party. That's the old George Wallace racist party. In a statewide debate on public television, my friends thought that I had won the debate, while I expect the friends of the other candidates thought that they had won. But a year later, there was an objective way to determine the winner. Of the three participants in that debate, I was the only one who was not in jail.
How did that happen?
Well, the American Party candidate was in jail for driving without a license and refusing to get one because it's none of the government's business. The Democratic Party candidate for more traditional reasons, tax evasion. During the campaign, I heard stereotypical comments that atheists are mean and angry protesters who do nothing but ridicule religion. I wanted to show that we do have a sense of humor. So here are some questions I was asked during my campaign and my answers to them. What would be the first thing you would do if you were elected governor? Demand a recount. What would make you believe in God? Perhaps if I won the election. It would take that kind of a miracle. What will happen to you when you die? I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to medical school, just like my Jewish mother always wanted me to do. I expect to use my body parts to their fullest when I'm alive, but I hope others can make good use of them when I die. I did have my day in court, but the judge decided my case was not ripe. In other words, he would only rule on the merits if I won the election. Well, to the surprise of no one, I lost. But I'm an optimistic kind of guy, and I always look on the bright side of life. The best for me personally was that I met Sharon, and Sharon became my one and only groupie during my campaign. We actually met in church. It was the Unitarian Church, the only church that invited me to speak. When I lost the election, I blamed Sharon because she had become my campaign manager. Now that sounds like something Donald Trump would say, except he'd expect people to believe him. So with politics now in my blood, what to do next? I decided to fulfill my lifelong dream of becoming a notary public, someone who stamps documents. Actually, I learned in 1991 that the South Carolina Constitution prohibited atheists from serving in any public office, and notary public would be the easiest to challenge. So I filled out the form, crossed out "So help me God," and sent in my $25 application fee. But Governor Campbell rejected my application. When I asked why, he said it would be too burdensome to explain why he rejected notary applications. Well, in a deposition in 1994, we found there were over 33,000 notary applications in that 3-year time period, and mine was the only one rejected.
Oh, wow.
As far as I know, I'm the only one in the history of South Carolina to be rejected as a notary public. I then won my case in several lower courts, but the state kept appealing it up to the state Supreme Court. Finally, in 1997, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously in my favor, nullifying the anti-atheist clause in the South Carolina Constitution.
Great.
Yes,
Congratulations.
Wow.
it felt good. I went to the county clerk's office with Sharon to pick up my notary certificate. Sharon took pictures of the clerk handing me my license and of me holding it above my head in triumph. Now, I don't know what your definition of a loser is, but the others in the county clerk's office who knew nothing of my case had quite a chuckle thinking that becoming a notary public was the high point of this guy's life. One of my students at the College of Charleston, who was unfamiliar with my case, saw my notary certificate prominently displayed in my office and asked me if I had to go to law school to become a notary public. I told him, no, it wasn't quite that simple. Law school would have taken only 3 years. It took longer for my notary certificate than my PhD in mathematics. My right to become a notary public should not have taken 8 years or happened the way it did, but it was well worth the wait. Thank you for inviting me. I enjoy this group. Here's my website, herbsilverman.com, which contains some of my debates and writings.
Oh, that was great, Herb. Thank you so much.
If you enjoyed this video, you might like one of the similar videos above, or one of the other science, art, legislative, entertainment, and humanist videos from HFFC's YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button above.